So dear Thai, dear community, thank you for being here this morning. So I'm very lucky because I'm free this morning to share about whatever I want. I was not given any topic. So I thought, what I would like to share. But before that, it seems that I need to say one thing. We are February 23rd, 2025, and we are in Upper Hamlet. And if you didn't put your phone on airplane mode, it is the right time for the translation. Is it working well, translation? Yes? Okay. And I will tell the translator if I'm too fast to show me. So, yeah, this morning I was free to share whatever I want. So I thought I would start with kind of a children question. Because very often children ask the right question. The question that adults usually try to avoid. That makes them uncomfortable. So I thought I would start with why do we suffer? What do you think? It's a good question? You like this one? And I wanted first to see with you. So I have already a question for you. To raise your hand. Who here likes to suffer? Oh, I have one person there. Maybe you should come here. And as you can see, there is not that many people who likes to suffer. Somehow it's something we if we can, we are happy to avoid it. And me first, I didn't raise my hand, as you could see. So in order to develop that, I was thinking of one mental formation. For those who don't know, we speak in our tradition of mental formations. Traditionally there are 51 of them, and there are many. I won't get into that, but it's something that we can name when we are suffering. Very often when we are suffering, we know we suffer. We know something is going off. Something is uncomfortable in us. But sometimes we don't know yet. So there is that feeling there is something negative feeling. I'd rather be somewhere else or feeling something else than that. And if we can stay with that, maybe at some point we will be able to name actually what is happening right now. So it can be anger, it can be frustration, it can be, there are many, restlessness, anxiety, fear. So we could go along very for a long time with that. And there are also some very positive. It's very important to know. And mindfulness is one of them. Concentration is another one. So, but here, as we are looking at why we suffer, I was thinking of one that Thai somehow added actually to the 51. It's fear. he added also a cousin of fear. It's anxiety. Somehow they were not in the 51, which surprised me the first time I saw that. But he added also the positive one, so non-fear and non-anxiety. So today I would like to speak about fear, because fear has been a long-time friend on my path. And I found that very, very interesting topic, because I think many of us have been experienced fear at some point. Raise your hand if you didn't experience fear in your life. Oh, wow. I know, finally, no, you experience fear. Huh? It's actually a very good question, because some people don't experience fear the same way as others. So already here there is something interesting. Some people know intellectually what is fear, know what's uncomfortable, but they don't actually really experience fear the same way as most people do. So it's always a good reminder to know that even if we are all humans, sometimes we can, even basic emotions like that, we don't always experience them the same way as others. And maybe among us, some people experience fear in a very different way than the others. And we can see also how we, just also by the way we react to fear, is something that is moving also. But we have, let's say that we have an idea of what fear feels like. And we'll start with that. We always start with where we are at. And I wanted to speak about fear, not only because it is a dear friend, and I will explain later why I speak of a dear friend with fear. It can be surprising, maybe. But also because it's very prevalent in today's world. Very often, when we are asked a question during question and answer, the question of fear and how do we consume fear is coming up. And one way to consume fear is with news. I don't know for you, but that leads to another question. Whenever you hear or you read the news, how do you feel after? Do you feel great? Open-hearted? Or you rather feel a little bit down, actually? Yeah, okay. That's the same for me. And it's very interesting and very important to look at it, because if we don't know how to take care of our fear, it will actually impact us, and it will kind of manipulate us, maybe in ways that is not in line with our aspiration. So we all have an aspiration, right? I hope. So if you don't, please take a moment to look at it. But I think if you came in Plum Village, is because you have an aspiration. And very often, that aspiration has to do with freedom, actually. And for me, it was very clear that even if in the beginning I didn't really could say exactly what was my aspiration, but freedom from fear didn't really spoke to me, actually. And And I see that through time it was becoming clearer and clearer. So maybe we can just listen to one sound of the bell and pause for a little moment just to check what is our aspiration actually. So, what is our aspiration? Is it something about freedom of something, of some emotions that might feel a little bit heavy and overwhelming? Can be something else, huh? You have the right. And so if it's so unpleasant, why do we experience fear? How come we are still experiencing fear? I mean, in today's world, when we can do so many things, the technology is so advanced, why didn't they find a way to suppress fear? And no need to hear about it anymore. You just take one pill and no more fear. But somehow, it didn't happen yet. Maybe it's not a good thing, actually. Because we can see, if we look, we can see that fear, if fear was not here, there is a big chance that we wouldn't be here today, right now, in that present moment. If our ancestors didn't experience fear, there is a big chance that they might have been eaten before they can reproduce, and we wouldn't be here. So fear has actually a very important role to play actually in our life, and for our ancestors too. I can feel myself that the fear I am experiencing is partly the fear of my ancestors, very clearly. Most of my ancestors until my grandparents' generation were peasants, so they would have to deal with the weather and to always being afraid that if there is frost, one thing that we can enjoy when we are not growing vegetables, that can actually kill whole crop, actually, or insects. Or you just have to ask Mick from the Happy Farm, who is right here. He will tell you more about it. All those things that we don't think about it if we don't experience it. And that could actually mean life or death, actually. We can still see that right now, for example, with desertification, the lack of water in some countries, and how it impacts population very heavily and can lead to famine. So fear can help us find ways to prevent and to create the conditions so that the crop will not fail, for example, or we will find a way for irrigating our crops. It can be actually an energy, and it has been an energy to help us actually do something. And find solutions. But fear can also be overwhelming if we experience it too much. Sometimes we call that also stress. If we don't have enough time actually to digest it, for me it's very clear, it's about that. If I don't have time to deal with the mental formation of fear, with an event, for example, which is happening, it will have an impact on me and it can lead me to act or say things that actually won't be beneficial for me and the others around me. So I really need to find time to take care of that emotion very clearly. So an example, I'm trying to find an example of that. But maybe with the news actually. If I am not taking time to... Oh, there is a story, I think, which is very speaking, and that came back to me recently. It was a news, actually. Thai one day received the news of, a very sad news, of a young girl that threw herself. She was a boat people, and she threw herself into the water because she had been raped many times, actually, by pirates. And at some point, it was just too much. So she killed herself. And so the way I understood the story, after we could ask Suko Chakong, she's here, she was here at the time, is that Thai has been, my understanding is that he has been very careful with that news because it was very overwhelming. Just hearing that story, I'm sure that you feel already some strong emotion, right? For myself, every time I'm listening to the story, every time I'm feeling, wow, that's not easy to hold, actually. So much suffering. And if we don't have time to digest it, to take care of it, and we are not trained to that, we can very easily just react to it, get directly into conclusion. That pirate is somebody horrible. We should get rid of pirates. Things like that, for example. But Thai saw that there was clearly, because it's also watering fear of future pirate for other boat people. And but Thai knew that he should practice with it and not jump into conclusion. He already had the practice, so he has been taking the time actually to walk with his mental formation, whatever he was feeling, however overwhelming it felt. And he took the time it needed and practiced as long as it was needed. Because he knew that if I'm really able to completely take care, really calm down that emotion, I will be able to see more clearly and have maybe an insight about why somebody like that pirate can do something so horrible. And that's what he did. And at some point, he clearly saw that if himself, he grew up in the same conditions as that pirate, he would have done the same, actually. It's difficult to imagine, especially try to imagine yourself doing that. But at the same time, if we look at it, we all have seeds in ourselves. And those seeds of violence or here of raping are actually here in us. And we have been lucky enough to be in conditions so that they are not watered. And that's also, I think, why Tai and Zuko Chankong saw that they can do something for future pirates or future action like that to not happen by taking care of children, actually, by feeding children. Because a child that has never had enough food to eat, at some point will grow trying to find whatever ways to survive. So there is something very, very strong, actually. He has been able to really see clearly that insight and even to take action by taking care of angry children with Soko Chankong, thanks to that insight, thanks to his practice, to their practice of walking with it, of holding the suffering, and not jump into conclusion. And sometimes it takes time. So when we see the news on TV, or actually it's more on the phone, actually, and that's the problem also, is that it's so easy to have them, readily in front of us. Even the worst is when you have those reminders or things that you don't even want them, but they pop up on your phone. So every time they pop up, and it's a bad news, you will water actually fear. But you can do it. We can do something about it. You just have to go back and find ways to stop those reminders. Because we see with that story that if we really want to see clearly and to be free, we need to take the time actually to hold those emotions, those strong emotions, in order to really see clearly into the situation, to really have an insight about it, and also to know what's the best action, actually. It doesn't mean that we don't need to stop pirates to do that, but also we can try to avoid to make new pirates in the future. So maybe we will listen to one sound of the bell to digest what I already shared. So, let's come back to fear. If you feel it's already too much, all what I shared, you are always free to leave the hall. So now I would like to look at what fear is protecting. So we saw that fear has a very is very useful actually. If it's here, it means that it helps us. It helped our ancestors. So let's look a little bit more about what is actually being protected by that emotion. When I look for myself, I see that fear is here to protect something vulnerable actually in me. There are some parts of us that are maybe more difficult to access and that are very, very tender and needs to be protected, actually. And we have a natural way. Our body knows how to do that. Our body and mind knows how to kind of create a shield around those vulnerable parts. And fear is helping to do that, actually. So I'd like to do a little guided meditation, actually. So again, feel free to do it. If you feel it's too uncomfortable, you have the right to open your eyes, even leave the hall. I don't want to make you feel. If there is protection, actually, if there is fear is protecting us, it's for a good reason. So we need to be very gentle with ourselves. But here in Plum Village, we also have good conditions. You can look around you, and you will see very smiley faces, with good intention, with loving kindness in their eyes. So you will see that it's a safe place. And so if you feel safe inside, so I will invite you for a little guided meditation. So you can close your eyes if you feel like it. Come back to your body. Relax. So you can do a little scan from the top of your head, your face, the shoulders and neck that is holding a lot, the arms, the thorax. Relax all the organs inside the body, all the way down to the belly. Relax the legs, the feet. Just enjoying having a body relaxed. We'll listen to another bell to see if we can just enjoy being relaxed. Breathing in, I enjoy my body relaxed. Breathing out, I relax into it. And I can check if in that relaxation, is there a part in my body that is still kind of tensed, where I feel there is something that is kind of protecting that part to open up. Can be in my chest, can be in my belly. And I just stay with that sensation. And I can just speak to that part of my body. Very softly, like we speak to a young child. I'm here for you. Maybe I've not been able to take care of you in the past, but today, right now, I'm here for you. So if you want, you can relax. Enjoy with me being in the present moment. Enjoy the safe place that we have been creating together. And we'll continue to do that. Whatever comes to your mind, you can speak to that vulnerable part that we sometimes call our inner child, or it can be our inner teenager, or something else. But it's that vulnerable part that need our attention, need our protection. So we can just stay with it. Just enjoy being here for that part of us and listen to one sound of the bell. Did it work? If it didn't, it's okay too. It just means that you need more time and to do it more often. So that slowly those parts will slowly feel safe and open up to yourself. That's actually my story with what I call my inner child, that vulnerable part. In the beginning, I couldn't really understand when we were speaking about an inner child in our tradition, what it was. And I would more kind of visualize. So it was still intellectual. I would more visualize a kind of happy child, or sometimes crying child. And it was fun, and it was a start. But one day, actually, we did a guided meditation, and I really felt in my body, actually, where it was in my body. So it was not something outside my body anymore. It was really, oh wow, there is that part that has been always kind of tensed, has been kind of always waiting for me actually. And suddenly, it's like the child was starting to have a look. Is it safe around? Okay, enough. It was not very long, because he was not so sure yet that the adult me would be able actually to create the conditions for him to actually feel safe enough to get out. So that's what I've been actually practicing after, is to enter in a relationship with him and being very careful to actually not betray actually him, to be here for him and not put him in conditions where it's too much, where suddenly we feel that poof, everything is the whole shield, the whole protection is coming back, and it's okay. It's how we learn too. But I could feel, and I had the intuition that, wow, that part, there is so much energy, there is so much life into that part of me, that if I don't take care of it, well, it would be such a pity. Because it's the same love for life, the same livelihood of children. Somehow, that's why we speak of the inner child. There is something completely innocent, pure, and full of energy that is actually right there, available for us. So are we able actually to get back to that part of ourselves and honor that part of ourselves? So that's what I've been doing it. And I've been doing it even on a everyday base, like this morning again. After the sitting meditation with a Sangha down in Shenha, I'm living down there. I'm taking time after the sitting, the formal sitting, to actually sit a little bit more. And because I already developed the concentration during the 30 minutes of sitting before, so it's a perfect moment of stillness and concentration to actually feel, for that part to feel that it can come up, it can feel safe. So every morning I'm trying to do that, and also it's a way also to check with my aspiration actually every time, and to see, oh, okay, I've been able, if I have been able during the last 24 hours actually to be here for that part of me, or maybe at some point it closed down. So it's a moment actually to also enter in a dialogue with that part, and maybe to apologize to him. Oh, sorry, I've not been actually able to really listen to you. I felt maybe pressure, and that's again, for example, fear of being judged, fear of, if I don't do that, maybe I will not belong anymore. I will not be loved. And sometimes we push ourselves like that. But actually, it's that part that we are actually hurting in us. And so every morning, I'm trying to see if I am still actually in contact with him. And during the day, so that during the day, it's much more easy actually to stay in contact with it. And to to speak about fear, actually, and fear is actually a very good way for me to see if I'm actually hurting my inner child. If I'm starting to feel some fear, and very often it's fear of how people will think of me, or very often during the day it's much more about that kind of fear, actually. How am I perceived? So if I don't say the right thing, or I don't do the right thing, maybe they won't like me anymore. So every time I'm catching myself telling that kind of story, I know, oops, there is something happening right now. So that's my bell of mindfulness. So if there is that story, it means that under that story there is an emotion that I've not been taking care of. And very often it's actually fear. So that's why I was saying that fear is a dear friend. Because it's actually one of the mental formation I've been working with on an everyday basis all my life. And it has been a journey, because I'm coming from a background when showing fear, if you want actually to be accepted, like when I was a teenager especially, but even as a boy, you're not supposed to show fear if you want to be accepted by the other guys, you know? So I see now how I've been actually creating those layers of protection, and slowly getting myself stuck into it, and there is no more life into that. Actually, it's becoming very narrow, and yeah, to the point that even at some point I've been considering suicide. And that's clearly part of it. Part of slowly actually thinking that I should actually even try to shut down actually that inner child, that vulnerable part. So maybe we can listen to one sound of the bell. And again, digest whatever we have been feeling. So that's kind of an overview of my journey with fear. So now I'm kind of keeping an eye for it. So like I said, if I'm starting to tell myself stories inside my head, that's a good sign. There is something I didn't take care of. So I will invite you during the day if you want. Yeah, just look if you start to tell you stories about yourself. And stop and what's behind? What is happening behind? What kind of emotions I didn't take care of yet? In our tradition, we have a practice that has to go with fear. If you can still listen about fear, I hope I won't make you too heavy after that. It's about what we call the 5 remembrances. And so they go like that. I will just go through it. We won't practice them now because it would be too much. So there are 5 of them, and it's actually a practice that the Buddha advised to practice every day. Because, you will see what it is, because of the latent tendencies of, if we don't take care of what they are pointing to, they will actually kind of manipulate us, like I was saying. They will actually take over, actually, and make us maybe react and say and do things that doesn't align with our aspiration. So the first one is knowing I will get old. I breathe in, knowing I can't escape old age. I breathe out. Getting old, no escape. Knowing I will get sick, I breathe in. Knowing I can't escape sickness, I breathe out. Getting sick, no escape. Knowing I will die, I breathe in. Knowing I can't escape death, I breathe out. Dying, no escape. Knowing that the human species and our civilization will die, I breathe in. Knowing that our civilization cannot escape death, I breathe out. Death of civilization, no escape. Knowing that one day I will have to abandon all that I cherish today, I breathe in. Knowing I can't escape having to abandon all that I cherish today, I breathe out. Abandoning what I cherish, no escape. Knowing that my actions are my only belongings, I breathe in. Knowing that I cannot escape the consequences of my actions, I breathe out. Actions, true belongings, no escape from consequences. Determined to live my day deeply in mindfulness, I breathe in. Seeing the joy and the benefit of living mindfully, I breathe out. Living mindfully, seeing joy. And the last one, vowing to offer joy each day to my beloved, I breathe in. Vowing to ease the pain of my beloved, I breathe out. Offering joy, easing pain. I know it's a lot, so we'll listen to one sound of the bell. Thank you for keeping with me. Sorry if I'm bringing up some uncomfortable feeling. And again, if it's too uncomfortable, you're always free to leave. But yeah, part of our practice is actually to learn how to be with those uncomfortable feelings. Especially those I just spoke about. if we don't prepare ourselves for those, they will get back to us at some point. And so you could see there were 6 of them because we added one, which is knowing that the human species and our civilization will die. Because this one is very speaking to our time, actually. So I guess Tai added it also to free us, actually. From the first time, actually, Tai spoke about actually our human species, our human civilization, as we know it, will one day disappear. In the beginning, I thought, wow. Really? And after, oh yeah, that's true. So there was a very scary feeling about it. But once I was able actually to take care of the emotion that it was bringing out, I felt so much more free actually. And I could see that all that climate crisis, for example, we are actually experiencing now, it helped me to look at it from a wider perspective and to see much more clearly how I can act actually, how I can do something about it, even on my small level. So that's my understanding of why I added it into it. But let's go back to one of them, which is kind of the same actually. Knowing I will die actually. So that emotions that is coming up with the idea of death, of our own death. Maybe it's too far away, we are too young, and it doesn't affect us so much. But maybe it can be the death of close ones. And so we have already an idea of what it feels like. But also what I like in those 5 remembrances is that it's about holding those emotions again, holding that fear again of dying. And telling to ourselves, because very often we have been already dealing with that question, and maybe we found an answer, and very often there are 2 extremes. One is actually about where I have it. I have it somewhere. Well, I will find it later. It's here. Yeah, one is about annihilation. So whatever happens, when I'm dead, there is nothing anymore. Finished. Up. Bye-bye. I'm free. And some people can even find some freedom into that thought, actually. And the other one is eternalism. That actually something will actually continue. And sometimes, very often, especially in Buddhism actually, I often heard about it, is that there is kind of something that will get out of that body and will continue in another body. And I'm not here to actually say that one is wrong or one is bad or whatever. More that to use one of Thai's calligraphy and mantra. Are you sure? Because sometimes we jump on conclusion like that because we are not actually able to hold the emotion that is coming with that idea of dying. And again, maybe it's too much, and it's okay. So, and at some point, I had some ideas like that actually, and I can still fall into it actually. But my invitation today is more to hold actually those emotions. Am I able to just stay with that feeling of dying? What it means? What is actually triggered in me? And maybe it will actually be those vulnerable parts that are saying inside that, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't want to disappear. What are you speaking about? I want to continue. So let's look at it. If you're okay with it, let's look at it and listen to one sound of the bell. So with that question of fear of death, I see that I'm really careful to try to not fall into one of those two extreme of annihilation and eternalism, and try to hold that feeling as much as I can, so that I can, when I'm able to hold it, I can also much better understand how, in one way, and that's Thai's teaching also, as I understand it again, we are continuing every instant. Something is dying and something is born every instant. Maybe I look like the same person as the one who arrived here 1 hour ago. But if you look closely, I'm not. Since that, I've been breathing some of the oxygen of here. But yeah, I'm changing so slowly that it's very easy to find that, oh, it's the same guy who is speaking since 1 hour. You don't even have to think about it. But if you come to see in Plum Village, let's say in 10 years, you might see me and see, oh, I know that guy. Oh, he's getting much older. Oh, wow. But I think it's the same as the one of 10 years ago. So here we can see very clearly there is impermanence right there. Somehow there is something that is still here that we can recognize, and our brain is very good at that, especially with faces. But at the same time, we see that it's not actually the same person anymore. It's somebody else, actually. I didn't think about it, but I could have shown you a picture of me when I was a teenager with my long hair. And you would have much more a hard time, actually, to see that it is the same person as the one we're speaking. I know because we tried already. It was kind of a game in the tea area. Try to guess who those children are, and it was actually monks of Upper Hamlet. And people had a very hard time to find out that the one with the long hair was me, actually. And that was 10 years ago. Now I look older. And what is important also to understand is that in order to be able to take care of those strong emotions again, of that fear of death, for example, is how do I create the conditions for it? If I can speak about it and share about it today, is because you came here in Plum Village. And you have been practicing maybe since Friday or even more, or even before doing the guided meditation, and the whole atmosphere of the hall is helping you actually to relax and to be able actually to hold much more easily those uncomfortable feelings. So that's also an invitation. How do you in your everyday life create those conditions to be able to hold those difficult emotions in you? So like in the morning, you can in the morning actually invite your inner child. But speaking of inner child, it's also inviting the joyful inner child during the day. And so last Monday with two brothers, we went to a local sangha 2 hours from here, and we watched Walk With Me again. And then we had 45 minutes question and answer after. And it was a long time I didn't watch actually the movie. But some parts of it really struck me. It's actually those happy inner child in some brothers and sisters. At some point there was actually Suko Chankong and there was Tai. I think they were in an airport and they were having fun with some stuffed animal. There was, if you have been watching the movie already, you see there is kind of a stuffed cat with rolling by itself and laughing all the time. And during the movie, you can really see how Tai is just a young child actually enjoying that and looking at that stuffed animal rolling and laughing, and even pushing it a little bit so that he can continue actually. and that's what really touched me into Thai's practice, is that he was able actually to nourish himself by letting his inner child actually enjoy so many of beauties of life that was right in front of him, actually. And he would invite us again and again to open up to that, or also to open inside that, so that inner child feels safe, that he can actually play, he can actually enjoy life. There was another one with Phap Ly, who passed away since also, and he was just looking at ants, but just looking at his face, smiling, he was really with the ants completely. And we see the ants are just doing their business actually. But you could see in his eyes, it was the eyes of a child that is in wonder, in awe, in front of a small thing of nature, actually. So, what was the last time we have been able to be in awe like that? Maybe in front of the mimosa, that is actually right now blooming over there. All the daffodils. Somebody told me about the fog this morning. It was so beautiful. So maybe we can listen to one sound of the bell and get in touch with that. Those wonders. Maybe it's just right now, actually. So I will come to the conclusion already. Maybe it was enough. But I hope that I have been able to actually convince you how important it is to really take good care, really honor even those difficult feelings, like fear. Really taking good care of our suffering. Because we can really see that when we take good care of it, it calms down, and after we have that energy that was actually taken by fear that is available for something more positive, that is more in line with our aspiration. And for me, it's really about taking care of those vulnerable parts in me, where there is all that energy actually, and allowing it to bloom actually, and to see if I'm starting to hear some stories up there. That's a sign. That's a sign I need to stop. That's a sign I need to honor whatever maybe difficult mental formation that maybe in the beginning I don't want to be with, and to take care of it, because I know that if I really take care of it, it's for my benefit and other people's benefit, clearly. And I see also that the more I'm able to take care of those vulnerable parts, the more I can see them in other people. And so it's much quicker, actually, rather than somebody say or do something not kind. I will much more easily actually see that actually there is an inner child, or that vulnerable part that is actually hurt in that person, and that's what is actually speaking or acting right now. And that maybe I can find ways to help him or her actually take care of that difficult part, rather than putting more layers on her, on saying that how bad she is or he is. So it's benefiting me really to take care of those vulnerable parts, but there is that interbeing right away with the way I perceive others. And that's a kind of, actually the cherry on the cake. So I think we will stop here. We have been maybe stirring enough strong emotion this morning. And we'll have time to digest all of that during our walking meditation. So thank you so much for being here this morning and for listening.